Well, hello everyone, Philosopher Stoner 666 here. So it's New Year's Eve. Everybody, Happy New Year. And or in my case, say Unhappy New Year. The endless void of vacuity. Another long year, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's interesting because I'm transitioned from a move from Quebec to back to Ontario because things in my life haven't been working out. Transition period, not doing anything this New Year's Eve. So I decided to spend the day refinishing my grandmother's old table and a chest of drawers set that she left me that I looked up were probably made in the 1930s, Art Deco style. They're very nice tables, and they're something that I'm holding on to. And when I was talking to my psychiatrist last week, I had a strange recurring dream with my grandmother in it, and walking in her old house with the pool. I remember it had a pool when I was a kid. Walking in it, and every room I opened the door, there's a dog barking and growling at me, and then I close the door. And then I make myself back to they had like a entrance part that had a big staircase that went down with a chandelier. I'm not joking, I'm not kidding. Lived in like this fucking princess castle that she lived in, of a house. That was amazing, but she wasn't really that well off. She was only a tax collector. So, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So she had a nice house. And my grandmother turns to me and says, like, "Oh, it's you," or something. And she gives me an evil look, and my mother's there. And then we open the door to a room. And then the dog jumps at me. And just as it's about to bite me in the face or something, I wake up. And so maybe I've been having an unconscious guilt about my relatives, and this is one way to sort of deal with that. And it's too bad I didn't videotape me when I was doing the old, but I post pictures of it. I'll post some pictures and maybe link them of the before, but yeah, it really brought out. My roommate left an orbital sander and did it. So first things first, scraped it a little bit, and then went with the orbital sander. Where is it? Where did I put that? Where? See right there? With a 50 grain on it, 50 grain sandpaper. And did all that, did the sides. I had to do this part by hand, but it was fairly easy. So you just scrape it and get it down to almost like the original wood, and then get a stain meant for the right color of wood. So I chose a dark one because it will hide any of the other flaws, and it brings out the wood, I was told. So the right stain, very crucial, and then stain there. So with a paintbrush, there's the stain there, and then. Yeah, very easy. I was amazed at how easy I found it. So scrape it and then coat it. There's all the different coatings you can get it into, but I just used a stain, and then afterwards take some beeswax with the brush. They sell it at the store, wax coating, and then buffer it with a cloth. And yeah, the shine and the beeswax really brings out the character of the wood more. I know I sound really pretentious saying that, but yeah, it's a really nice piece that I got that if you found the right buyer, could get money for, I think. Interesting. It's like you can see an outline for something that was carved into the wood. It's some kind of drawing that I see. But you have to have the eye for it. You know, is this like is this almost like a Rosark? Listen to me, Rosark ink blot test or something. And I get this sense as if there is a drawing underneath this, but there isn't. But yeah, the wood is leaving off some impressions, and that's very interesting how the wax is almost like seeping into it and bringing out all this character into this wood that it lost its character. It was so dirty and shitty looking, and now it has all this character, so I'm staring into it, and what do I see? It's almost like there's grooves or something from someone was doing sketching, and it's like they sketched or wrote on under a pile of paper too many times or something, and it looks like there's lines like that. Yeah, this is a good piece of wood. You wouldn't think it looked like that. Yeah, it's very fun. I don't know why. So, I'm just staring into a piece of wood and blithering, but my point is, happiness, I don't even really think there is genuine happiness, but there's ways of dealing with problems, having a set routine, getting up at the same time every day, and having a morning ritual. So every morning when I wake up, drink some lemon water, then, I get dressed to do my hygiene ritual that I outlined in another video, and then make my bed, which I talked about in my last video, and I find doing that really helps deal with it. So I was reading an article, and I'm thinking about moving to Windsor, Ontario. I'm not sure if I should do it or not, though, but I read that you can get, for $100,000, you can get like an art studio apartment or something. And properties that are the same, that are similar in style, the same kind of them cost in Toronto, that the cost is like $3 million for the equivalent. So it's like Windsor, the article's claiming is like this little forgotten kind of place that maybe could be on the boom again. Like Detroit, like if they're going to bring back, say like Donald Trump, one of Donald Trump's things, if he does bring back jobs, some of the jobs might go back to Detroit and that economy might get going again, or it's just going to go totally into the pits. But either way, you can get something really nice for very cheap. So I could move in as a real estate investment. It would be Ontario, so everybody speaks English. No challenging. I could find a part-time job. Could be okay, but I'd prefer to maybe just stay with my dad, but maybe rent it out. Maybe dad could have like his own little studio or something. So, I'm scheming with ways that he could buy something. He went on about buying another property. And yeah, this is how I occupy my life. Scheming, always looking for something, never being just content with what you have. But it's interesting, you can take something that you used to have and then redo it and remake it, and it's interesting how it's more character, because you realize there's a history behind something like this. This thing's old. This is from like the 30s, and it's still here, and it's still in somebody's life, and it's a nice thing, and it's a nice thing to look at, and you appreciate it, and it's in the family. And if I had a family, I would tell them about, this was your grandmother and this and that, and I could fool myself into thinking that I had some kind of a grander purpose. But I've reached a point where I'm already so young, I don't have a network of family. So why would I have kids? Because the family network's not going to take care of them, and it's sure as shit the corporate fascists aren't going to take care of my family. The government's not going to take care of my family. Nobody's going to take care of my family, so why would I have one? Especially if I don't have any family. But I can think that it would be nice to have kids. I could delude myself in that way and go along with the program. I'm capable of it. I'm perfectly capable of having kids. I always used to think I wasn't capable of having them or having a girlfriend or having a woman. And I could have all of that stuff. I could have whatever the fuck I want to have, but that's not really the point. The point is that you have to seek out some sort of an objective argument, which I think is very hard to do, but it can be done. And if you can just step outside of your own game for a little bit, you'll realize, well, the price paid and this is the last thing standing is this fucking table. Otherwise, it's a whole history of a family of all people that I basically never knew because they chose to fight and argue and have a bad time. They were negative people. That's what happened. No family. Families divorcing and people breaking up and people adding so much more unnecessary drama into their life. Unnecessary suffering. But now I'm just like a blithering pothead drunkard. I'm getting drunk and I'm just polishing this up. It's amazing how I just look at and see how, look at that stain and look at that wax. It's just being sucked into the wood and it's just relaxes me and I feel good and I feel better. But, it won't last. And slowly try to discipline myself and let go of things and, you can see the benefits. Like now I realize, going vegan, going vegetarian, that saves so much money and does so much and you're satisfied with so much less. And then if you have have a bag of potato chips, it's amazing. That was pretty satisfying. And usually I remember when I was a fatso one, I'd have so many chocolate bars and so much shit. And then to realize you can just be content with relatively less. It can be very personally liberating. So there's a sense that it's a pessimism of strength, not coming from it's important to not come from a place of weakness, to be personally inner strong. And then when you're strong on the inside, then you can tackle the problem. You can look at it objectively, but that's very, very hard to do. And most people don't have the discipline for it. And I sure didn't have the discipline. I remember when I was a kid, we went to Riverdale Park Zoo, petted a cow, and then we went to the St. Lawrence Market and there were meat hooks. I thought eating meat or whatever was what the fuck? There's this cow carcass? Was this not absurd, silly? I wanted to pet Diefenbaker the cow, earlier today, and then we're doing this. It didn't make sense to me, so I said, can't we try some of those vegetarian hot dogs or whatever? And that lasted about a week, and I betrayed that impulse. I thought there was something wrong about it, but I betrayed the impulse. I listened to everybody else around me. I didn't stand my ground, and I preferred to let somebody else carry the weight for me. I never really had many chores when I was a kid. I was spoiled. I was lazy. I was gluttonous. I was fat. You have to answer for all of that stuff in your karma. And it builds up and you forget things. And then you have to relearn all of this stuff. I really do believe on some level in reincarnation, but not in the sense that I will live on. A soul, a personal me doesn't exist. Energy, a life force exists. But you will be reborn and you will do the same situations over again as a different conscious being. So their name won't be William Lano Warrens, but their name will be, Lucy or Susan or Phil or Andy or Rachel or Michael or whatever the fuck the name you want to pick. But it's going to be basically a conscious being similar to you is going to continue. They're going to have the same likes and dislikes. They're going to like their potatoes on a certain side of the plate compared to the other side of the plate. Or, they're going to have their own little thing. But you are not unique. You're maybe 1 in a million, but you're not 1 in 7 billion. You are, but there's something identical, something similar to you, basically identical, that exists out there in the world today. Like, I've met people, it's very strange, that are so like me. It's incredible. So I certainly am not, when you adjust for a larger population, I'm not that unique. None of us are that unique. Anyways, well, damn it, I'm high. New Year's Eve, and I'm polishing furniture. I'm like an old fucking man. I'm gonna have another drink. My throat is dry. Philosopher's Donor 666 out.